You say yes when you mean no. You apologize when you've done nothing wrong. And somehow, making everyone else happy leaves you feeling completely empty. So why do some people live like this?
Why are some people people pleasers?
Oh, sweetheart, it really does start with connection, doesn't it? When we're young, we learn pretty quickly what keeps people close and what pushes them away. And if we figure out that being agreeable, being helpful, being the one who never causes a fuss, that keeps us in the group, well, we hold on to that. We really do. It becomes almost automatic. You start scanning the room, reading faces, trying to work out what everyone needs before they even ask, and saying yes. It feels like the safe choice, because saying no risks that distance, that look of disappointment, that awful sense that maybe they won't want you around anymore. Approval starts to feel like oxygen, dear. You don't think about it consciously, you just know you need it. And the idea of someone pulling away because you said the wrong thing or let them down, that fear keeps you agreeable long after you've forgotten why you started doing it in the first place.
Why are some people people pleasers?
Okay, here's the thing that people don't really talk about, which is that for a lot of people pleasers, conflict doesn't just feel awkward, it feels actually dangerous. Like, genuinely threatening. So, saying yes, it's not really about being nice. It's more like, I don't know, damage control. You say yes to stop the anger before it starts, yeah? You over-explain yourself so nobody can blame you. And if somewhere along the way you learned that making a mistake meant punishment, or someone going cold on you, or that whole awful guilty feeling that just doesn't shift, then keeping everyone happy becomes this habit you build just to stay safe. Because the alternative, someone being upset with you, rejection, that awkwardness that just hangs in the room, that feels way worse than just going along with it. So you just keep saying yes, because at least then, nothing bad happens. Probably. I don't know, it usually works. Mostly.
Why are some people people pleasers?
Right, so, look, mate, it's simpler than people make it out to be. Some bodies are just more sensitive to social threat than others. That's just wiring. Someone gives you a disapproving look and your stress response fires up, just like that, same as if you'd heard a loud bang or something. And smoothing things over, saying yes, being agreeable, that brings the stress down fast. So your body learns, right, this works, do this again. And if you grew up in a house where looking after other people meant things stayed calm, where being a caretaker meant you were safe, your nervous system just files that away, mate. It becomes the go-to. Someone's upset, fix it. Someone needs something, give it. Not because you're a pushover, little buddy, just because your body found a pattern that kept the stress low and it kept running with it. That's all it is, really. The body found something that worked and stuck with it.
Why are some people people pleasers?
Look, some people build their whole identity around being the nice one, the reliable one, the one who never causes trouble. That's their brand. That's how they stay in the game. And here's the thing, champ. When your self-worth is tied to being needed, being admired, being seen as good, you protect that image hard. Saying no threatens it. Suddenly, you're not the reliable one anymore. Suddenly, people look at you differently. Can't have that, so they overdeliver. They say yes when they mean no. They work twice as hard to stay in that role. Because if they slip, if they stop being useful, what are they then? Nobody wants to find out. It's not weakness, it's strategy. A flawed one, but still. They built a reputation. They're protecting it. The problem is, the whole thing runs on other people's approval. That's a fragile foundation. Reputation built on yes is not real strength. Real strength is built on respect.
How do I set boundaries without upsetting others?
Yes. Now, the first thing to understand is that a boundary functions most effectively when it is treated as a practical agreement rather than an emotional confrontation. So, you state the limit, you offer a brief reason, and where possible, you offer an alternative. Something along the lines of, I am not able to do this, but I am able to do that. Very straightforward, really. Now, crucially, you must avoid over-justifying because excessive explanation actually signals uncertainty, and uncertainty invites negotiation, which is precisely what you are trying to avoid. Specificity also matters enormously here. Time, energy, capacity, these are concrete resources, and naming them makes the limit tangible rather than vague. And then, the rather important bit, you must remain consistent. Because the moment you bend the boundary under pressure, you've communicated that the boundary is, in fact, negotiable, which rather defeats the purpose. Put simply, clarity and consistency do most of the work for you.
How do I set boundaries without upsetting others?
Oh, sweetheart, I think the most important thing to remember is that setting a boundary doesn't mean you're pushing someone away. It really doesn't. You can hold the relationship in the sentence while still holding the line. Something like, I care about you, and I'm just not available for that right now. Because what you're doing is saying no to the request, not no to the person. And that distinction matters so much, dear. Think about your timing too. Think about your tone. Think about whether you circle back afterwards with a little check-in or offer another time or another way to connect. Those things show people that you're still there, that you still value them. But, and this is the part we don't always want to look at, notice who adjusts and who doesn't. Notice who respects your limits even when they're disappointed and who only seems to like you when you're saying yes. Because that tells you something really important about what those relationships are actually built on.
How do I set boundaries without upsetting others?
Oh, honey, can I tell you what drives me absolutely up the wall? When people talk about setting boundaries like you need a script. Like you have to memorize some stiff little sentence and deliver it perfectly or the whole thing falls apart. No, baby, no. A boundary lands when it sounds like you. When it has your warmth in it, or your humor, or your quiet firmness, whatever is real for you. Try something like, I am realizing I need more quiet time to myself, or I am just not okay with jokes like that. See how that feels because it is honest without being an attack. You ain't pointing a finger, you are just telling your truth. And here's the thing, honey, when people feel that you mean it, when the sincerity is right there in your voice, most of them will adjust. They might be a little disappointed, sure, but they will adjust. What does not work is sounding like you are reading off a legal document. Be you. Your real voice is the most powerful boundary you have got.
How do I set boundaries without upsetting others?
Okay, so, I'm just gonna be honest here, because the idea of setting a boundary when you're terrified of upsetting people is, it's a lot. It really is. And I think the mistake is thinking you have to go straight to the big, difficult conversations. Because what if that goes badly right away and then you never try again? So, what actually helps, I think, is starting small. Like, really small. Little no's, low-stakes stuff. Just to prove to yourself that you can survive the discomfort. Because you do survive it, mostly. And then, I don't know, think ahead. Actually prepare. Because if someone pushes back, gets upset, tries to guilt you, and you haven't thought about what you're going to say, you'll just cave. And then you're back to square one. So decide in advance. Think through the likely reactions. Have your response ready. The goal isn't that nobody gets upset ever, because that's not possible. The goal is that you stay steady even when they do. That's really the whole thing.
My child, there is a reason so many people learn to put others first before they ever learn to put themselves anywhere at all. It begins gently, as most things do. A small adjustment here, a yes that costs a little, a need set quietly aside. And for a time it works. The room stays calm. People stay close. The fragile thing does not break. But a habit built for survival has a way of outlasting the danger that created it. And slowly, without noticing, a person can find themselves shaped entirely around what others want, with very little left that is their own. Setting a boundary is not an act of coldness. It is an act of honesty. It says, this is where I am, and this is what I can genuinely give. Some will hear that and draw closer. Some will feel the loss of easy access and pull away. Both responses tell you something true. The relationships that can hold a no are the ones worth tending. The rest, my child, were never really about you. They were about what you were willing to give up.
If you made it this far, you're gonna want to see what comes next. Hit subscribe so you don't miss our next video, and click the video on screen now to keep learning more. See you in the next video.